And so geometry homework, more review. So where we left off was somewhere toward the end of 42, I believe. I don't remember exactly how far we got or what people still needed, so I'll just kick that your way. I feel like we were in the teens, at least. Anybody, anything you need from 42, but especially from like 16 and up. I feel like this page we pecked at it a little bit, but I don't know if we even gave you all the answers or not. Anybody know where we were? Can you tell from what you were filling in?
I have like
16-ish. Okay, so let me give you answers from 17 and down. 16 was 13 and 3. Did you have that one? Okay, so 17 is 18 and it's negative 2. 18, anybody have 18 figured out? It is 3. 19's in the back, it's 14 and it's negative 4. 20 is not the most important question of the group. I'd say this is toward the lower end. This would not appear on a test. But definition of between, what kind of math problem do you always write me for definition of between?
A plus B.
An add problem, some sort of an add problem. So definition of between always leads you to an add problem. If you go to do algebra, you always end up doing the, you're in algebra class, always trying to do the, what'd you say? Opposite, doing opposites. So 20, what 20 has to do with is that definition of between always gives you some sort of an adding problem, like an AB plus BC equals AC kind of thing. When you're in algebra world, you always try to do opposites to solve things. That's what's going on in 20. 20 is a combination of your usual definition of between makes you add, but you use the subtraction property of equality to do algebra when it's time to do the opposites with something. And that's all they did is like, they reworked that. Like, if I gave you a simpler question, I could say this, and if I wanted you to get A alone, how would you get the A alone?
C minus B.
You'd go C minus B. To get rid of this add B, you'd subtract B. If I wrote you this, how could you get the AB alone?
Subtract BC.
Subtract BC. So you get AC minus BC. What you're trying to do with 20 is write maybe like 2 or 3 sentences to just try to explain what I just said. 21, they skipped a part of the definition. They skipped the part about B being between A and C. The midpoint definition has 2 parts. One part about equal segments, the other part about who's between the others. So 21, they skipped the part about who's between the others. B has to be between A and C. 22A, anybody have an opinion? That's close. We're at 4, we're at 10, we're trying to find a bisector. What's a bisector a synonym for? Starts with an M. Midpoint. Midpoint is a bisector. If we're looking at 4 and 10 on a number line, where's the midpoint for 4 and 10?
7.
It is at 7. 22A is going to be 7. Let's skip to C. What math word completes C? If we're trying to find the midpoint, and we're looking at numbers, and we're doing math, what's the number that's right in the middle? What math thing is that called? From like even back to elementary school, for sure 7th grade. You had a 4, you had a 10. You find the blank, and it turns out to be 7. It's an A word. You have a 50 on a test for me, you have a 100 on a test for me. You come in and say, what's my blah? And I'd say 75. Average is correct. So C is the average. A was 7 because you basically did the average, whether you noticed it or you didn't. So for 22B, what would you do if they asked you to do the average of X and Y? Instead of giving you the average of numbers, they want the average of X and Y. What would that look like with some math symbols?
X plus Y divided by 2.
Correct, X plus Y divided by 2. So that's what's going on in 22. You're doing the average. 23, negative root 2 is the answer. That's located in the back if you hadn't looked that one up yet. 24, you'd have to draw yourself a picture. Let's draw the picture first and then we'll talk. So they say A, B, C are 3 points of a line. As soon as I read that A, B, and C are 3 points of a line, why should I not just go A, B, C like that?
Because you don't know what order they're in.
I don't know what order they're supposed to be in. I can only commit to a picture that looks like this, but I shouldn't commit to which letters where until I read on. They say that AC plus BC is equal to AB. So they're using the definition of between to say AC and BC equals AC. So who does that tell you about either who's on the ends or who's in the middle? C is in the middle. And I copied something wrong. This was supposed to equal AB. Since C is in both of those, C's in the middle. They didn't tell us anything else, so where you put A and B is like, hey, whatever. No one cares. And then they're asking you to do intersection, so that's going to need an improved picture in a second. What's intersection? What's the key word for intersection? What's in common? It's where they overlap. It's where they touch. It's where yellow plus blue would make green if I were willing to walk and get my chalk, which I don't feel like doing. But they want to go intersection of ray CB. Where is ray CB? Start where, go where?
Starts C, goes B, and onwards.
Starts at C and goes that way is one item. Then they want a ray BA. Ray BA,
Starts B, goes all the way to A.
then it goes left through A. So if we stack these on top of each other, where would these two things be overlapping?
CB,
From C to B. What kind of geometry thing is it from C to B?
line segment.
That is a line segment. So that first answer would be line segment CB. I can only draw one line that connected them. If I do a third point, I'd still have that first line, and I just created 2 new ones. So now I'm up to 3. If I do a fourth point, I have all those original 3, and then I just created 3 more, and we were up to 6. A fifth point, I'd have all of what I had before, and then I just created 4 more, and I'm up to 10. And I think that's where we left off. If I drew on a 6th point, I'd have everything I had before. How many new ones would I have just drawn in?
15.
I'd be up to a total of 15. Because I'd be able to connect point number 6 to all of the other 5. If I draw in point number 7, I'd have all my earlier ones, but I'd have had how many new ones?
6 more.
6 more new ones, because I could connect the old 6. I'd be up to 21. Maybe that's where we left off. I feel like I had a 21 that day, maybe. Question about what's going on? So what they're asking you to try to come up with is a way that with some sort of formula you could make a skill. And if I gave you 9, you could do math and come up with how many 9 would give you without having to figure out 8. Okay? Could we figure out 8 and get to 9? Sure. But if I asked you for 20, do you have the patience to sit there and get there? I don't. We'd want to see if we could find a pattern, and we came up empty that day. Does anybody see a pattern going on?
it's like, so 3 to 6 is 3, and then 6 to 10 is 4, and then 10 to 15 is 5.
It's true.
6.
And then you can just allow sports.
We are, how'd we get here? So this is 1 plus 2. This is 1 plus 2 plus 3. This is
1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5.
so if I wanted to do 20, how could I do it? Etc. until I get to 20. What they wanted us to do is a formula that used an n. We don't even know what it is. Well, you would do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way up to n. That would be okay. That's an answer. I've got a better answer, but that works. Question about that? Here's another way we could do it. I'm going to do it in like 2 steps. I'm going to try to get somehow from 7 to 42 and then back to 21. 6, I'm going to get to 30 and then back to 15. 5, I'll get to 20 to get down to 10. Does anybody have a way that I'm getting from these to the middle or from the middle to the end? How am I doing the math?
Multiplying it by the previous one and
That's-
then cutting it in half.
That's correct. So this, I'm going to go with 5 times 4, and then I'll divide by 2. This is 6 times 5, and then I'll divide by 2. This is 7 times 6, and then divide by 2. So for 8, I could do
8 times 7.
8 times 7 is 56,
Divide by 2.
divide by 2 is 28. For 9,
9 times 8.
9 times 8 is,
73.
divide by 2.
36.
If I wanted to do 20, how excited would you be to go 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to 20? Not that excited. For 20 though, you could just do 20,
Times
19,
Cut in half.
cut it in half. So for n, a different way we could do it would be to take n times something and divide by 2 and minus 1. n times one number below it, divide 2. That was what, 9D on one of the pages somewhere? What page was that from? 18. So if you have an 18 around and 9D has been pestering you, that's the conclusion on 9D.